After World War II, short-range/vertical takeoff and landing became an important aviation technology line, which has obvious advantages in military, can enhance the survivability of fighter jets. The American Ryan Aeronautical Company also wanted a piece of the pie, and developed the X-13 vertical takeoff and landing jet in the 1950s. The Ryan Aeronautical Company mentioned here is not the same company as Ryanair. In fact, Ryan Aeronautical Company had been discussing the feasibility of vertical takeoff and landing technology in the late stages of World War II. The U.S. Navy collaborated with the company in 1947 to explore vertical takeoff and landing aircraft technology, with the aim of using it on submarines and developing them into submersible aircraft carriers. The X-13 is an experimental aircraft, resembling a rocket with wings, weighing about 2,400 kilograms, 7.14 meters long, with a wingspan of 6.4 meters, and single seat. The aircraft takes off vertically with the nose up, like a rocket with wings. The pilot has a conventional cockpit, and the seat can tilt forward 45 degrees. When the aircraft is in a vertical position, the seat tilts forward at a certain angle to make the pilot more comfortable. The cockpit canopy is enlarged to improve the pilot's visibility, and the pilot can also observe other areas through a rear-view mirror inside the cockpit. The aircraft is equipped with a Rolls-Royce turbojet engine with a thrust of 44 knots, with air intakes on both sides of the fuselage. The aircraft's vertical tail and wings are triangular, with a 60 degrees sweep angle of the leading edge of the wings. There are no horizontal tail fins, and the aircraft's takeoff, hover, and yaw are controlled by adjusting the engine thrust and vector thrust. A total of 2 prototype aircraft were built, and the aircraft did not have conventional wheeled landing gear. In some photos, the aircraft can be seen with conventional tricycle landing gear or a landing gear installed at the rear for vertical takeoff and landing. These were actually temporary equipment. There is a hook under the nose of the aircraft, and it needs a special tow truck to take off. The tow truck has a launch rack that can be raised vertically by hydraulic equipment. When taking off, the aircraft's hook is attached to the steel cable on the launch rack in a vertical position. At this time, the pilot can ignite to increase thrust and achieve vertical takeoff. The aircraft needs to climb to a certain altitude before adjusting its attitude to level flight. When landing, it needs to first transition to a vertical position. The pilot maneuvers the aircraft to gradually approach and reattach to the launch rack on one side of the aircraft's belly. Although the entire process is very complicated and it is still difficult to achieve practicality even today, the X-13 did complete flight tests in the mid-1950s, completing the transition between vertical and level flight. The maximum flight speed was 560 km per hour, the maximum flight altitude was 6,100 meters, and the maximum range was 300 kilometers. The development of the X-13 was discontinued in the late 1950s because it was too complex. The special takeoff and landing mode limited the weight and size of the aircraft, making it difficult to install necessary weapons, radars, and other equipment. The short combat range and cumbersome takeoff and landing process were not suitable for military use. The concept of a submarine aircraft carrier itself is not mature. So far, surface aircraft carriers have been the main carriers in naval history. Only a few submarines have been able to carry aircraft, and they have not been very successful. In addition, with the development of submarine-launched missile technology, the submarine technology line has been led in another direction to become a strategic deterrent force, and there is no need to develop submarine aircraft carriers.